Tyrone Tracy, 5th-round running back for the New York Giants, was able to play because Devin Singletary got banged up with an injury. And holy cow, they go into Seattle. I don't think a lot of people, myself, I certainly, I guess I could just speak for myself here. I didn't have a lot of high hopes for the Giants being able to go into Seattle and win this football game. They did 29-20, and Tyrone Tracy is a huge reason why, because when you go into this bad boy and you say, hey, we got no Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors was the offense. We talked about Malik Neighbors so many times on this show. You got no Malik Neighbors. Basically, everybody's like, you got no shot. But Tyrone Tracy steps up in a big way. 18 carries, 129 rushing yards. 7.2 yards per carry average. I mean, he was just an animal in this game. The juice that he provided this team, I think, was so special. And you saw that in some of those, you see it on the screen here. He had 4 runs of 10 or more yards in this game. And John, what I think was a really impactful stat that even goes beyond just pointing out that he was able to get some explosive runs for you is when they happened. 3 out of those 4 10-yard runs that Tyrone Tracy had were on 1st and 10. And the first one that he had, I can't remember where this was exactly in the game, but it was the start of a drive. And it was a duo run call for the run blocking. And you could tell, like, he's supposed to kind of just go up the middle somewhere, find something up the middle. The duo block gets a little bit of push, but it didn't really open up a running lane. So Tyrone Tracy gets up to the line of scrimmage. He's got about a yard or 2 because they did get some good push with those 2 double teams. And he goes, now, all right, I'm going to go this way. Boom, puts his foot in the ground, immediately goes to the left, goes up the C gap, and he just explodes into the second level, gets to the safety level, puts his foot in the ground. You could tell that Seattle Seahawks safety Rayshawn Jenkins was not ready for that kind of speed. They did not prepare for this. He puts his foot in the ground and immediately goes back by Rayshawn Jenkins as well. And it was just, that was a constant for me of an explosiveness that has not existed for this Giants backfield up till what we saw this past week. So Tyrone Tracy, huge salute to him. 5th-round draft pick. A lot of people talked about him being a potential gem. I said before the season, I think it's only a matter of time before he's the RB1 on this team. And oh boy, did he take a step in that direction with a great performance against Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, the duo run you're talking about was probably one of the most impressive reps to me because it's hard to set up blockers better than he did on that rep. You know, duo, you're reading that play side linebacker, and so he's kind of, the double secures the first level, and then as that player moves, if he hangs, that's where it becomes a little bit tougher. You got to hope one of your blockers gets off and can climb to the second level. But Tyrone Tracy attacked the A-gaps as if he was rushing there. And again, he's pretty explosive. So both linebackers, actually, even the backside backer, both of them pulled out of their gaps to flood the A-gap, left the C-gap, as you mentioned, wide open. He just bounces the run to the left and gets out of there. So you can't cheat your gaps against him. Like right away, they go to the sideline like, this guy's way too explosive. Like most backs can't do that. Like they get to there, and then by the time they cut through C, the back can recover, or the backer can recover. And because Tracy was so quick and he set it up, like he knew exactly what his next move was going to be. He pressed the A, cuts to C, and was vertical. And it was just like, oh my goodness. Like not only is he this incredible athlete at this position, and it was only 6-man boxes. A lot of his best rushes, not all of them, but a lot of them were against 6-man boxes. And so he was able to, but he knew exactly where the space was, like at all times. His peripheral vision was just really outstanding, showed how good of a feel he has as a back. And so that combined with how fast his jump cuts were, they had, was it an outside zone run, I think, to the left. Was definitely a stretch run to the left. And he was moving out on the perimeter, and he just kept stringing the thing out. And I was like, where's the space going to be? And he let the blockers reach everybody, and then he just put his foot in the ground and just threw a small hole. It was just like, I don't even know, like this kind of explosiveness is rare at this position. It's one of the reasons why I think burst is one of the most important traits for a running back. And man, you could see it with Tracy, like no hesitation at all. But I also thought like it was more than just that. I thought his feel was really good as well. Where's he been before now? Singletary is a good back, but this is crazy.
That was, and that kind of goes into exactly what you said to start the show. Is like, it's really cool that we have a lot of running backs who are playing really early, because I think the notion for a lot of these coaches is you just don't play these guys, especially 5th-round picks. You just don't play them right away. Malik Neighbors getting into the lineup right away. Okay, I get it. He's a 1st-round pick. He's a top 10 pick. But when it comes to Tyrone Tracy, even him playing well in camp, and there were some training camp clips of him just like playing really well, you figured that he wasn't going to start because there are a lot of little like nuanced things beyond just being a really good athlete that coaches want dependability. They want a high floor. They want to be able to put these guys in the situations that they see in their head, and they can rely on this player to do exactly what they think they're going to do. Even if it's a lower ceiling, it could be a higher floor and more reliable that they're going to be exactly where they need to be, and coaches think that they can kind of game plan around that. You got a player in Tyrone Tracy very clearly that is just the most dynamic athlete that they have in their backfield. And they need to play more. There's no doubt about it. That stretch play that you were talking about, that was another one of his explosive 10-yard runs. And that was the one that wasn't a first down run. That was a 3rd and 1. So to show that sort of patience and understanding of it was such a great feel from him, and such a great display of knowing where the blocking was coming from, how to throttle down his athleticism, because that's another thing with guys, right? Especially rookies. When they get on the field, they just go, okay, I got to show them everything I got here. I got to show them I'm a great athlete, because he was a high percentile athlete when we saw him at the combine. But sometimes these rookies, they can't tempo their speed, so they're just like all gas at all times, and then they overrun the block, or they overrun the rushing lane, or whatever it is. And Tracy did not do that against Seattle, so that was a really great sign for him as well. His background is so fascinating because he played wide receiver for Iowa for 4 seasons before. He really just was not getting a lot of looks as a receiver at Iowa, and ends up transferring over to Purdue. They convinced him to go to running back full time. And what we saw in that last year with him at Purdue, that was the first year that he played running back full time. So what he is at running back is sort of just natural playmaker ability right now, but we showcase that in a big way. And I think that he is, if what we saw this past weekend is a sign of things to come, the Giants' offense is going to get a lot more dynamic if he's going to be on the field even when Singletary gets back. And I hope that that's the case, because he was a lot of fun to watch.
And there's only been a few pass blocking reps so far, but that's the big thing, right? You talk about a guy switching positions. Already one of the hardest things going from college to the pros as a running back is pass protection, the rules, and then the technique involved in it, because there's so much more blitzing. Linebackers are so much more dynamic. You get blitzers coming from absolutely everywhere. Some of these defensive coordinators are out of their minds. And so the way he's been able to step into that role, I mean, he only has 9 pass block reps on the year, but a lot of them looked really good. I took a look at him last night, and I was really impressed. Now, some of these are like wide zone runs, and he's kind of getting the handoff and then peeling off and clipping a guy, hitting a guy on the end, just like pushing him out wide a little bit. But there's a couple times where he's had to stand into the A gap, into the B gap, and take on a blitzing linebacker, and it's looked good far more than it's looked bad so far this season. So just encouraging stuff from all around. And you'd hope some of the pass catching, route running stuff is natural to him as a wide receiver convert. So just the makings of something real here already, just based on like the traits in the 1 game sample size, which I'm obviously hesitant on a little bit, but it was overwhelming in this game. Like, this was incredibly impressive when you put the tape on and saw him operating at this game speed and his first real chance to be like the lead guy. It was really encouraging.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And anytime it's a lot of fun to watch, you're having some good results, unless you're a Seahawks fan. Sorry about that.